today. And that is no joke. That is deadly serious. And that isn't anti-Semitic. The whole concept of anti-Semitism, the whole smokescreen of the Holocaust, it's all been set up to allow the State of Israel to get away with what it's doing. Because what it's doing is just waving itself flagrantly in the face of all international law. It is displaying utter contempt for all that is good, all that is just, all that is right, all that is humanitarian. And it's doing so under the guise of victimhood of the people who live within its borders. And this victimhood is very much in question. And you can tell it's in question, folks, because of the stringent rules that are being put in place to prevent anybody from questioning the issue of the Holocaust. And the Holocaust is what is allowing the State of Israel to get away with the utterly contemptuous and inhuman actions that it is carrying out daily. And it isn't just carrying them out against the people of Palestine, folks. It's carrying them out against the people of the world. It really is. The influence that this state has on so many countries now is absolutely unacceptable. And it's unacceptable because there is no criticism of the hold that this state has on the world that is allowed. Because it hides behind the smoke screen of the Jewish people, it hides behind the smoke screen of the Holocaust, and it labels you as being anti-Semitic for speaking out against the political actions of an entity which is controlled by a banking cartel. It's not anything to do with the Jewish people. It's simply a destabilizing mechanism that is using the smoke screen of the Holocaust and the plight of the Jewish people to carry out some of the most nefarious activities that have ever been carried out in the history of the world. And that is the modern day state of Israel. And if you think that's anti-Semitic, then you need to go and wash your ears out a little bit and wake up to reality, because it's not anti-Semitism at all. It's simply looking at the globe and looking how this chess game is being played and seeing who the major players are and what moves they're making. And anybody out there who thinks that this show has been an anti-Semitic show needs to really seriously wake up to themselves. Because the most anti-Semitic organisation on this planet at the moment is the State of Israel, and the most anti-Semitic people in there are those who populate the Israeli government, with Benjamin Netanyahu being number one. Like I said at the start of the show, folks, when looking at the problems of the world, it's important that we look at them with a degree of intelligence. It's important that we put our views aside, our political views, and what's been programmed into us. We put it all aside and step back and look at it. And I've done that, and when I do that, folks, and I look at the world, this is what I see. I see a big chess game being played, and I see the human race being played like a fiddle. I see a bunch of Khazar imposters and banking cartels hiding behind the smoke screen of the Jewish people in order to carry out some of the worst crimes that have ever been carried out against humanity, and if I speak out against that, I'm labelled as an anti-Semite. And this happens for speaking out against Israel and against people who are not Semitic and have nothing to do with the Jewish people, are not supporting the Jewish people, are not supporting the State of Israel, and are not doing anything good in the world today. They are not victims, they are not anything they pretend to be. They are psychopathic criminals who are destroying this world, and it's happening because people are too damn scared to speak out. Well, it's about time we did speak out, folks, because this world is run by psychopaths and it's wrapped in bullshit, and that is the truth of the matter. And until people are prepared to stand up and say that and speak the truth, it's just going to get worse. There is no political remedy. There are no people you can vote in and vote out. There is no movement you can join. If you're not prepared to stand up and speak your truth, then the world's just going to go to hell in a handbasket the way it's been going for the last century or decade or millennia or however long you want to look at this. It's certainly been going that way for the last 50 years. It's certainly been going that way since World War II, or certainly even since World War I. But it's really, really escalated since we saw the false flag of 9/11, which was not carried out by Muslims. It was carried out by Israel, and the proof is there. It's right there, all in the public domain. You can find it if you look, so go and investigate it. And again, folks, it isn't the Jews, it's the people who run Israel. And who runs Israel are banking cartels. That's why this whole thing's been set up. That's what this whole war on terror is about. It's all about imposing these central banks all around the world. And it's time we woke up to things. But that's about it for me now, I think, folks. We've reached the end of the show. Thank you for joining me on the air today. It's a pleasure to be back. I'm sorry it was such an angry show for the first show of the new season, but recent events in the world have created a need for me to take things to the next level and to really start speaking out. So thank you for joining me on this show today, and I thank you for putting up with my tirades. Thank you again to anybody who has ever made a contribution to the website. It would be great if someone could at the moment, actually, folks. That's the thing, when I go off air, people just don't seem to contribute, and I've been off trying to make some money so that I can actually keep doing these shows, but it really depends on people helping out sometimes. So please make a contribution to the website if you can, and thank you to anybody who has in the past. That is it for me, folks. I look forward to speaking to you again next week. Please take good care until then. In Lakesh.